Lennart, thanks so much for sitting down with me. I'm sure you have a very busy schedule. I wanted to talk a bit about EU's plant protein production strategy. And as we know, for already several years, the EU really wishes to become more independent in its plant production and more self-sufficient, less relying on import. In your opinion, and from the view of Europe's farmers, is that a good approach, or can we leave it as it is?
I think it's a good approach. I think European farmers will be part of Europe getting more independent of imports of protein. We can grow more on our fields. We also think that the main protein source in the food sector will continue to be meat for several years. But then we have the import of protein feed, and there we could do quite much. Yes, we can.
Yeah. But of course, this is not a new wish. And the EU, I have the feeling, has been struggling a bit with finding a good overarching strategy. Did the EU get it wrong? Did they do it right? How's it going?
I think for the moment they are reaching for a little bit too much. They try to answer all the questions in the complex protein agenda. They are looking maybe a little bit too much on the food side, on reducing the use of meat and protein from the animal sector. Instead, I think they should focus on reality, and if they have focused more on just the protein feed, it had been much easier. But when they try to have all the parts in, it will be a little bit struggling. We see now in the Parliament took a very good initiative to make their own strategy and their incentive. In the beginning, there were also discussions about lab-grown meat and so on, but after the debate in the Parliament, it has been more focused on a holistic view on what we could already today do. And I think that's a success factor.
Yeah. I know, I'm aware of the EU Parliament strategy, and that now puts the focus on EU Commission to come up with a plan. I believe that is due Q1 of 24, if I'm well informed.
As I understand now, they will not do a strategy. It will only be a report.
Okay.
And that's a little bit vague, I think, from the Commission, because as you already mentioned, this has been a debate for several years. I think it's time that they present more precise measures so we in Europe really could take this challenge.
From the point of EU's farmers, and now that the EU Commission starts writing its report, and probably after the elections strategy, what are the important points for Europe's farmers? What do you want in there?
I think it's, in the end, it's about economics. Producing protein crops and protein overall, it's need to be profitable for the farmers. And today, if we look, and the big challenge is, as I earlier said, it's the feed sector, I think. But then you need to be compatible. You need to have seed varieties that are adopted to Europe. You need to have a wide toolbox for plant protection, for seed treatment, for seed breeding. NGTs is one of those questions. And we also need to have initiatives. If the market don't pay for everything, the society need in some way, if they want this pay. That's through CAP as today. CAP, politicians want CAP to everything, the common agricultural policy. But if we have a strong CAP, we could also use that. So there's a lot of things that need to be in place that today are a little bit, some countries are doing that, some countries are doing other things, and some don't do anything. So a more focused strategy could be important.
Yeah, exactly. That's also the concern that I've been hearing in the corridors. You're saying, just to zoom in a bit on the cap, if the cap was strong enough, we could use some money from the cap for the EU protein strategy, but currently the cap is not strong enough and we should not be using cap money?
What we see in the future are so many challenges for Europe. This cap we have today have focused a lot in the strategic plans on environmental and climate conditions, not so much as production. But we also have other incentives in the European Green Deal that will not widen the toolbox. Quite opposite, there will be less tools for us. So if in the future cap, I think we need to focus much more on production. And then, of course, there could be measures that also focus on protein production. But we have seen the last cap that was first in the environmental schemes, possibilities to grow peas and beans, for example, in Sweden. In the beginning, it was okay to do it with PPPs and so on. Then there came a ban on PPPs. So with a lot of rules, the production went down. So there are possibilities, but often the politicians tend to also combine support with rules.
Yeah, that's a tough one, and it applies to all dossiers, not just plant protein.
No. It's all the time. So,
well, thank you, Lennart. Good luck with the strategy, and I hope it will be a positive one for the EU farmers. Thank you.
I hope the same. Thank you for letting me be here.